Welcome, friends. My name is Avinash Gorakshakar, and I welcome all of you to another interesting episode of Konexio HighFlyers. Friends, as everyone is aware, these episodes help us understand emerging companies from emerging sectors in a much better way, and we make it a point to talk to the promoters, the top managements of such companies, so that all of us can understand what their company's business model is, their growth journey, their future growth plans. And in this process, we get a lot of valuable information from the companies, which helps all investors to take a very good conscious call when they invest in such companies. And today, friends, we have got another interesting company by the name of Globe Textiles India Limited. And we have the privilege of having Mr. Bhavin Parikh, who is the Chief Executive Director of the company. Bhavinji, welcome to the show. Thank you very much, sir, for the time you have spent with us today. I'm pretty sure that in this small interaction, we'll be able to understand your company in a much better manner.
Thank you, Avinashji. Very good evening, and thank you for inviting us. Please go ahead, and I hope I can answer your questions to the best of my knowledge. They're
Right.
helpful.
Definitely.
They give more insight.
Bhavinji, first question, which is very elementary. If you could tell us in a very brief way, what is the main business model of our company? What is the product segment we cater to? And what is our positioning in the domestic market? And how did this business journey start? Like, how was this company started? If you could give us some background, because that would also help our investors to understand your company's profile in a much better way.
So this is a first generation company. Started in '95 and really took off post 2007-8, where we started off with a humble background of shirts, supplying ready-made shirts. We were one of the few who were also manufacturing locally and getting it imported. And from there we began and we got into textiles. Again, that was a little like going against the tide where uh, India was importing major of its textile fabrics. We identified a product called voile, which is worn by women as a scarf in Southeast Asian and Gulf countries. And we developed that product and started our textile vertical. So, coming to the question, which product mix, we have businesses predominantly focused on three verticals. First vertical being textile fabrics, in which we do a lot of printed fabrics, dyed fabrics, finished fabrics. We are most leading suppliers of sarongs, which in India we call lees, uh, from to the Southeast Asian market and the Gulf market. They
Okay.
both in, yeah, so they're both in polyester and cotton both. We
Okay.
predominantly in India wear cottons, but across other regions they wear both the products. The second vertical is post that we from textile or processed printed fabrics, we got into garments. We set up one of a kind denim jeans manufacturing setup. We today are one of the largest denim jeans manufacturers. Roughly capacity is 7,500 denim jeans a day, spread across 2 units and supplying to all major brands in India and parts of Europe and the Gulf market. And the third vertical is while doing a lot of R&D and development for both of these verticals, we also got into the raw material of these two verticals. From the yarn stage, uh, the gray stage, and like the denim fabric itself. We started supplying those products at our specifications, a lot of manufacturing countries and customers. So the business divided into these three verticals, and that's how the journey has been.
Okay.
We've grown
No,
stand to stand from year to year. We've adding products and markets.
So I think very well, nicely articulated, sir. Sir, tell me one thing that in terms of the overall market opportunity, you said that you started with one product, then you migrated to garments, and then you also started making the raw materials which go into making of the denim. Sir, tell me one
Mhm.
thing in terms of the opportunity size for our product categories where we cater to the customers. Sir, what is the size of the opportunity both in India and the export opportunity? Like textile is a very large market, but the category in which we operate, how big can it be quantified over the next say 3 to 5 years, and what is the kind of growth opportunity available for our company? If you could share your thoughts.
Okay. So, as you would know, the India story uh, is booming. We're talking about a 3 trillion economy and moving towards a 5 trillion economy. And with disposable income, I mean, I'll break it into two: the domestic market and the international market. So the domestic market is growing rapidly at a CAGR of almost 9.5% year on year. And if you see the disposable income, with the rising of the disposable income, consumer spending in India is also growing. That's the reason that a lot of organized retailers are expanding their footprints in India rapidly, so that they can cater and capture the demand of the consumer. Along with that, we are an economy which has, I mean, one of the most unique economies in the world, where we've got a large spectrum of being a young population, from the youth going for fast fashion to the seniors going for conservative textile approach. But the market caters to all of them. So if in terms of numbers, I think India is looking. I mean, right now it's, I think, around 170 or 175 billion is the Indian garment market, and it is likely to grow to almost crossing 300 billion by 2030. I think
Okay.
those were the numbers I read somewhere.
Yeah.
Um, and so we being positioned very well, because we are, in terms of garment vertical, we are providing jeans, we are providing shirts. We've last year added a division called Nevo, which is more into uh, uh, new and value-added products for women's tops, shirts. We do jackets, shackets, cargos, shirts, as I said. Knitswear is an area where we've just ventured into. So we've got a good basket of products which any brand would require. So we're like a one-stop shop for them, for
Okay.
these different products. And in terms of textiles, like I said, with the growing economy across India, textile demand is also equally grown, fabric demand.
Okay.
And exports, post COVID, we had all seen a lot of volatility in the international market, mainly because of transit issues, freight cost, demand drastically dropping, I mean, foreign currency reserve issues. So we saw a lot of the demand being not so steady or growing, but things as last 6 to 12 months, things have started stabilizing. There are geopolitical issues everywhere, but they are coming to a stage where things look in 25 to be more stable, 25 and 26. So the international demand also shifting. Earlier it was China plus one, now it's Bangladesh plus one. So for
Okay.
the garment and the textile business, we see a lot of potential coming forward from all these developed and developing nations.
Okay. No, understood. In fact, Bhavinji, now tell me one thing that we are a B2B player. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Now tell me one thing, sir. What is the marketing kind of touch point which we have? Like, what is the marketing network? Because obviously we cater to existing B2B customers, but do we have a marketing network which actually helps us get more and more new customers? If you could throw some light on that aspect.
So, like you rightly said, we are in the B2B business, and so uh, few of our touch points or USPs are, we are very high in R&D and design and development. So we keep on, we have in-house designers, a large team of designers who work on designs and styles and products, uh, keeping the market forecast and trends. We also experiment a lot. Being vertically integrated, that's the advantage we have. So that's one more position which we have a little edge in. And we are constantly in touch with our customers. I mean, in all the verticals, our marketing team is consistently with them. We keep approaching them and sending them newer concepts, newer ideas. And since in today's time, I mean, we've been doing this from the beginning, but today is becoming more relevant because the fashion keeps on changing very fast.
Okay.
So we don't wait for the trend to kind of change. We kind of keep pushing our own selves and own concepts so that the customer is able to select from a wide range. So one example, if I give you, I mean, in terms of garments, our strike rate with our customer is almost 70%. So most of the products which we develop and present, 70%, 60 to 70% of that is selected as is. So, that just goes to show that we understand the customer, we are customer centric, we understand the fashion, and we are able to forecast the upcoming trends.
So, and I think nice to hear that, Bhavinji. Bhavinji, now tell me one thing. Presently, as on date, what are the kind of signals you're getting from your customers as far as demand for all your product categories are concerned? Without giving a number, if you could give us what is the customer saying? Is the demand growing rapidly, or should we see better demand as compared to last year? I think if you could just throw some light on this aspect.
Yeah, demand is growing. Uh, uh, there are shifts in products and styles. I mean, adaptability is going to be agility and adaptability is going to be one of the key areas, and we are also focusing on that. And how we become more adaptive and agile, how we go to market would be there in a shorter period of time. Like, just to give you an example, like in denim jeans, the forecast usually is earlier it was around 4 to 6 months. Now the time is reduced to almost 2 to 3 months. So we have to be very agile in being able to cater to the change in demands. Uh, Except, I mean, if you are able to do that, the demand is great, the order book is great. We are always at any given time. We have an order book of at least 2 months, 2 months plus. In the season time, even more. But yeah, the demand is there across. I mean, in India and from abroad also, from international markets, the demand is growing. People are coming back to India and looking at more product mix than they were
Okay.
doing earlier.
Okay. Fine, understood. Bhavinji, now two questions. One is you mentioned that the busy season. So, is our company having maybe a better second half compared to a better first half? Like, is the business seasonal for us? Is the second half better than the first half? That is question number one. And second question
Okay.
is, Bhavinji, in terms of pricing, like, when you take a new export order or a new domestic order, I mean, how is the pricing decided? Is it depending on the quality of the fabric, or maybe the quality or the customization of the product you do, the quantum of the order? So, how does pricing work in our business?
Okay. So the first question being seasonal, yes, textile and garmenting is seasonal business. And the first 2 quarters are always fantastic because that's the buying period and preparing. Everyone prepares for the seasonal time because across the world and within India, the seasons start from October all the way up till January. So that's the buying period, and that's why you see a bigger demand. Third quarter being Diwali time and a lot of festives, you do see a little slowdown, but it starts picking up from the fourth quarter. To mitigate and try to not have too much volatility between each quarters, that's why we are catering to both the markets, the export market and the domestic market. 40% of our sales is exports. So a lot of times the export orders, and when the export is slow, the domestic market helps fill in that gap. So there is not, I mean, there is a little dip, but it's not drastic or that big.
Okay.
The second question you had asked was how are the pricing points, or
Yes.
how do we derive price, correct? So pretty much in all products, all the verticals, the price is derived by various factors like the raw material prices in the market currently, like cotton or the price of crude for polyester products. The second factor is it depends on the design, the product, the length of the product. When you combine all of that together, how difficult the product is. I mean, in terms of design or production, and from on those bases, we are able to calculate the prices. And we also have to factor in, competitive market environment internationally and domestically.
Okay,
Internationally, we are competing with countries like China, Bangladesh,
exactly.
Vietnam, and others. And domestically, we have to keep a watch on what competitors or the other players are doing. Yeah.
Okay. So fine.
So
Now,
that's how.
since you mentioned about Bangladesh, Bhavinji, which is very interesting. Like, now the kind of political uncertainty which is there in Bangladesh,
Yeah.
this is just a kind of a viewpoint. So if you could help us, sir, do you think that, Indian textile companies will benefit significantly maybe over the medium to long term if Bangladesh underperforms? India can be a good sourcing point for a lot of export-oriented kind of customers. So what do you think? Is it possible?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are seeing that shift happening. And what happens is, even if things stabilize moving forward, uh, the customer will not moving ahead put all his eggs in one basket. They would want an alternative supply source, and
Exactly.
India is well placed along with few other countries. And it's only not the international market which will come to India to India for sourcing, but it's even the domestic market. So in domestic markets, a lot of our retailers are also procuring products or garments from Bangladesh.
Okay.
So they will also see, you would give your home turf first chance because the lead time and all that reduces
Okay.
vis-a-vis Bangladesh. So I see the shift happening at both the places, domestic and international.
Okay. So I think very nice to hear that, which is definitely positive for us.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. We also look
yeah,
forward to 25 and 26 being a good year in that way.
yeah. So Bhaviji, now one thing which I wanted to understand is let us keep the financials aside for a brief time. I want to understand in terms of qualitative parameters. How do we add value to our customers? Like you said, you are in constant touch with all our customers. Sir, how do we add value to them? Like is it in terms of our service, in quality, in terms of our execution? सर दो तीन क्वालिटेटिव पॉइंट्स बताइए 2-3 क्वालिटेटिव पॉइंट्स which can tell us that we do a much better job in ensuring that clients are happy, we get a lot of repeat business. So if you could share your thoughts.
So I'm very proud to say that we still have our first customer, our first employee, and our first supplier working with us. And our retention rate is very low in terms of the workforce. Uh, so that gives you an idea of the ethos and the ecosystem which we work on. With the customers, like I think I said earlier that we are very, very strong, or I mean, pretty involved in our R&D and developing new products, and that helps us cater to the customer's demand before the actual market picks up the demand. So the customer is happy that he gets ahead of the curve. Uh, Quality standardization, following SOPs, making sure that the products follow a certain system, so that in the beginning there is a teething issue, but after that, once the product is set, it becomes a little more automation, because textile is a very labor intensive industry. So we try to bring in tech and systems in place so that we can follow a certain standard procedure.
So fine. So basically, you said good quality people plus you ensure that you are very close to the customer, and that helps you give them the best what they expect from you. So that is one of the USPs, sir. Now tell me one thing on the financial side. I was just seeing your first half number for FY25, very robust numbers, Bhavinji.
Yes.
Profit of almost 0.54 crores. compared to last year. I think your profit was close to about 5.75 crores. Now tell me one thing, sir. What is the reason for this improved profitability for the first 6 months of FY25? Any specific reason like volumes have gone up, pricing has improved? Typically, what has actually happened for these better numbers to come for the first 6 months?
Okay. So compared to 23, 24 numbers, top line, bottom line, both were good. 24 being a little more stable year, where raw material prices like cotton and yarn were quite steadier as compared to earlier times. So that was one of the reason. 24, 25, this 6 months have been more robust. Mainly, I mean, two, 3 points. One is with the addition of forward integration of Globe and Wash, uh, which washing and processing is like the heart of the fabric that adds value for the customer and for us. So, having said that, adding Den Wash gave us a leverage of developing more value-added products, more complex products than which we were doing earlier, and which the market only number of players are able to provide, and that is why we were able to fetch a better price, better
Okay.
margin. Said we also added that Nevo division, which
Yes.
was a new product, and we
Okay.
also added 1 or 2 new markets internationally, which have also been positive.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, now coming to the future expansion plans, Bhavinji, if you could tell us, what is the kind of future expansion plans for the company? Any capital expenditure plans the company plans to make? And do you have any fundraising plans?
The time is good, where, like I said, you also discussed on the Bangladesh factor. The state government has also come out with a very beautiful incentive policy to support and encourage textile growth in Gujarat state. That's one reason, and the way we are seeing demand and product capacity is filling up. We are looking at maybe first going for a little automation where we will tweak our production capacities a little bit so that we become even more efficient, and later on backed by capacity expansion. That's on the drawing board, but we are waiting for the markets and the geopolitical situation to stabilize a little bit.
Okay. But going forward to finance all these future plans, Bhavinji, do you plan any capital kind of offering? Like, do you plan a rights issue, or are you planning some capital offering to fund this expansion plans, or will it be from internal accruals?
Yes, we are. We are. It will be both internal and external. And right now, I mean, on the 24th, a right is opening
Okay.
where funds will be utilized for acquisition of shares of Globe Denwash, which is a forward integration for us, which adds a lot of value um, to us and for the customer. And we become a one of a kind integrated units catering to high end fashion and a regular fashion as well.
Okay.
So that's one of the main reasons. Also, uh, fulfilling a little bit of the working capital gap
Okay.
from these funds. So
Okay.
that's the main purpose, and making Globe Denwash debt free. That's our
Okay.
main focus.
Okay. Understood. Now, since you mentioned about working capital, Bhavinji, typically, for the domestic business and for the export business, if you could tell us what is the broad average working capital cycle in our business?
Okay. So in textiles, it's anywhere between roughly around on an average 3 to 4 months. I mean, yeah, around 3 months. And garments is somewhere around 4.5 months,
Okay.
4 to 5 months. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. So basically, some amount of funding which you will raise is going to ease your working capital also. So a lot of,
Yes.
some part of the money will be used for working capital, which is fine. Bhaviji, now last question, which is very important, is like, from a business standpoint of view, what is the main risk in our business? Like, we have seen COVID, but now things have become normal. You said domestic market demand is growing, export market demand is growing. What is the main risk in our business? Is it execution? Is it the quality of our product? What is the main risk? And if there is any risk, which you can tell us, how have you managed it so well up till now?
Okay. So that's a pretty interesting question. I think in terms of the product, roti kapda or makan, I mean, it's an essential requirement, so you can't do without it, either one of them. So this business is always going to stay. It is always going to grow with disposable income, with everybody's having access to so much of data and knowledge and exposure. The demand will keep growing. So I don't think demand is a major challenge. Gujarat being a Manchester of India, India having textile technology know-how since ages. We were leaders across the globe. So in terms of the ecosystem, skill set, production, I don't see a major challenge there. Uh, According to me, the challenge is that something like COVID doesn't happen again. Like recently, we heard that China there was a virus outbreak. And the second challenge is any major geopolitical shift which can hamper the demand. So we saw Russia-Ukraine war kind of uh, 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 drastically in 6 to 8 months' time change the business scenario where business dropped drastically. Um in the European market, especially. Freights went up the roof. So, any such event happening where the raw material prices or the product prices, or there is any kind of imposition of major duties,
Ah,
that could hamper the growth a little bit. But like I said, the domestic market is equally strong, growing and maturing drastically. So we are in a little safer zone as compared to maybe other countries. That's what I feel. So the risk is
my
mainly to any major outbreak or any such events like the COVID or any major geopolitical problem.
No, I think you rightly mentioned that the runway for growth, for textiles is pretty large. And I think unless something like COVID happens or maybe there's a geopolitical problem, only then there could be a little bit of a risk for, a company like ours. So anyway, Bhavinji, thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. I think we could get to understand your company in a much better way today. So please accept my best wishes to you, your entire management team. And thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your wishes.
Yeah.